Let's begin with the most important mental anchor. Modern neural networks learn by repeatedly making small numerical adjustments that reduce error. Gradient descent and backpropagation are the mechanisms that make this possible. Everything else in deep learning, architectures, scaling laws, training tricks, depends on this core loop working efficiently and stably. At a high level, gradient descent is the optimization method, and backpropagation is the efficient algorithm for computing the gradients that gradient descent needs. They are often mentioned together because one is almost useless without the other. Gradient descent tells us how to update parameters if we know the gradient of the loss. Backpropagation tells us how to compute that gradient efficiently in very large computational graphs. To understand why gradients matter, imagine a neural network as a very complicated mathematical function with millions or billions of parameters. During training, we want to adjust those parameters so the model's predictions get closer to the ground truth. But the parameter space is enormous. We cannot try every possible configuration. Instead, we need a directional signal that tells us how to nudge parameters to reduce the loss. That signal is the gradient. The gradient is simply the vector of partial derivatives of the loss with respect to each parameter. Intuitively, it tells us how sensitive the loss is to small changes in each parameter. If increasing a parameter slightly increases the loss, the gradient for that parameter is positive. If increasing it decreases the loss, the gradient is negative. Gradient descent uses this information to move parameters in the direction that reduces error. The name gradient descent comes from the geometric picture of descending a high-dimensional surface. Imagine the loss function defines a landscape of hills and valleys over parameter space. Training is the process of rolling downhill until we reach a low-loss region. The gradient points uphill, so moving in the negative gradient direction moves us downhill. In its simplest form, the gradient descent update rule is straightforward. For each parameter, subtract the learning rate multiplied by the gradient of the loss with respect to that parameter. The learning rate controls how large each step is. If the learning rate is too large, we may overshoot good solutions or diverge entirely. If it is too small, training becomes painfully slow. In practice, we rarely compute gradients over the entire dataset at once. That would be computationally expensive and memory-intensive. Instead, we use stochastic gradient descent or mini-batch gradient descent. We estimate the gradient using a small random subset of the data. This introduces noise into the updates, but the noise is often beneficial because it helps the optimizer escape certain problematic regions of the loss landscape. Now we arrive at the central question: how do we compute gradients efficiently for deep neural networks? A modern network may contain hundreds of layers and billions of parameters. Naively computing derivatives using symbolic differentiation or finite differences would be completely impractical. This is where backpropagation enters. Backpropagation is an application of the chain rule from calculus, organized in a way that makes gradient computation efficient for layered computational graphs. The key insight is that neural networks are compositions of simple differentiable functions. By applying the chain rule systematically from the output layer back to the input layer, we can compute all required gradients in time proportional to a forward pass. To build intuition, consider a simple feed-forward network with an input layer, one hidden layer, and an output layer. During the forward pass, data flows through the network. Each layer computes a linear transformation followed by a nonlinear activation. Eventually, the network produces a prediction, and we compute the loss. The backward pass then propagates error signals from the output layer back through the network. Each layer receives a gradient signal from the layer above it and uses the chain rule to compute gradients with respect to its own parameters and its inputs. This recursive structure is what makes backpropagation efficient. The computational graph perspective is extremely helpful here. Any neural network can be represented as a directed acyclic graph of primitive operations. During the forward pass, we compute and cache intermediate values. During the backward pass, we traverse the graph in reverse topological order, applying local derivative rules at each node. Automatic differentiation frameworks implement exactly this process. One subtle but critical point is that backpropagation reuses intermediate results. Without this reuse, gradient computation would scale exponentially with network depth. With backpropagation, the cost of computing gradients is only a small constant factor larger than the cost of the forward pass. This efficiency is one of the key enablers of deep learning. Let's examine the mathematics more concretely. Suppose a layer computes an output as an activation function applied to a linear transformation of its inputs. The loss depends on this output. Using the chain rule, the gradient of the loss with respect to the layer's weights equals the gradient of the loss with respect to the output multiplied by the derivative of the activation and the input values. This pattern repeats layer by layer. In matrix form, backpropagation becomes a sequence of vector Jacobian products. Modern deep learning libraries are highly optimized for these operations, which is why GPU and accelerator hardware is so effective for neural network training. However, the basic gradient descent loop hides many practical challenges. One of the most famous is the vanishing gradient problem. In very deep networks, gradients can shrink exponentially as they propagate backward through many layers, especially when using certain activation functions like sigmoid or tanh. When gradients become extremely small, earlier layers learn very slowly or stop learning entirely. The exploding gradient problem is the opposite failure mode. Gradients can grow exponentially, leading to unstable updates and numerical overflow. Both problems arise from repeated multiplication by derivatives during backpropagation. Modern architectures include several design features specifically to manage gradient flow. ReLU and related activation functions help reduce vanishing gradients because their derivatives do not saturate in the positive regime. Residual connections allow gradients to flow more directly through deep networks. Normalization layers stabilize the distribution of activations, which indirectly stabilizes gradients. Another crucial component is weight initialization. If weights are initialized too large or too small, gradient magnitudes can quickly become pathological. Initialization schemes such as Xavier initialization or He initialization are designed to preserve variance across layers during forward and backward passes. Learning rate scheduling also interacts deeply with gradient descent. Early in training, larger learning rates can help the optimizer explore parameter space. Later, smaller learning rates allow fine-grained convergence. Warm-up schedules are especially important in large transformer models because they prevent early training instability. Momentum is one of the earliest and most effective enhancements to basic gradient descent. Instead of updating parameters purely based on the current gradient, momentum accumulates an exponential moving average of past gradients. This helps the optimizer build velocity in consistent directions and damp oscillations in noisy directions. Adaptive optimizers such as Atom go further by scaling updates based on running estimates of gradient magnitude and variance. These methods often converge faster in early training, although plain stochastic gradient descent with momentum sometimes yields better final generalization in large-scale settings. From a geometric perspective, neural network optimization is highly non-convex. The loss surface contains many saddle points, flat regions, and local minima. Interestingly, research suggests that in very high-dimensional spaces, truly bad local minima are relatively rare. Instead, the main difficulty is navigating plateaus and poorly conditioned curvature. Batch size also affects optimization dynamics. Small batches produce noisy gradient estimates that can help generalization and exploration. Very large batches produce more precise gradients but can lead to sharper minima and poorer generalization if not carefully tuned. Large-scale training often requires adjusting learning rates and regularization when batch size changes. Another advanced topic is second-order optimization. In principle, methods that use curvature information, such as Newton's method, could converge faster than first-order gradient descent. However, computing and storing the full Hessian matrix for modern neural networks is computationally infeasible. As a result, most large-scale training relies on first-order methods with clever heuristics. Backpropagation is sometimes misunderstood as biologically implausible or fundamentally limited. While it is true that exact backpropagation may not map directly to biological learning, in engineered systems it remains extraordinarily effective. It leverages precise gradient information and efficient linear algebra operations in ways that are very well matched to modern hardware. Automatic differentiation frameworks have made backpropagation almost invisible to practitioners. When you define a model in a modern library, the framework constructs the computational graph and generates backward passes automatically. However, advanced practitioners still benefit greatly from understanding what is happening under the hood, especially when debugging training instability. Memory usage is an important practical concern. Propagation requires storing intermediate activations from the forward pass so that gradients can be computed later. For very deep or very large models, this memory cost can be substantial. Techniques such as gradient checkpointing trade extra computation for reduced memory by recomputing some forward activations during the backward pass. Mixed precision training introduces another layer of complexity. Using lower precision arithmetic speeds up training and reduces memory usage, but it can also reduce numerical stability. Loss scaling and careful casting strategies are used to preserve gradient fidelity. In distributed training, gradients must be aggregated across many devices. Communication overhead and synchronization become major bottlenecks. Techniques such as gradient compression, asynchronous updates, and sophisticated parallelism strategies are used to keep training efficient at scale. Despite all these complexities, the core loop remains conceptually simple. Perform a forward pass to compute predictions and loss. Perform a backward pass to compute gradients. Use gradient descent or a variant to update parameters. Repeat this process many times over the dataset. One of the most important intuitions for technical audiences is that gradient descent does not solve the learning problem in one step. It is an iterative refinement process. Early updates are coarse and noisy. Later updates become more precise. The trajectory through parameter space matters, and different optimization settings can lead to very different final models even with the same architecture and data. As models continue to scale, the importance of stable gradient flow and well-behaved optimization only increases. Many breakthroughs in deep learning have come not from radically new objectives but from better ways of making gradient descent work reliably in deeper and larger networks. If you remember one core idea, let it be this: backpropagation is the information plumbing that tells each parameter how it contributed to the final error, and gradient descent is the mechanism that uses that information to make incremental improvements. Together they form the learning engine that powers modern AI systems.
If you find this video exciting, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. See you in the next AI for Beginners educational video.